the sun rises, and before you even open your eyes, the thoughts begin to race. It is a familiar feeling for many of us. You feel a small knot in your stomach and a sense of hurry, even though you have nowhere to be yet. This is the start of a day filled with worry. We carry our lists of tasks like a heavy bag everywhere we go. Worry does not just stay in our minds, it lives in our bodies. You might notice your shoulders are high and tight, or perhaps your breath is shallow. This physical weight is the first sign that our thoughts are taking control of our physical reality. We often ignore these signals, thinking they are just part of a busy life, but they are actually a call for help. Most of the stress we feel comes from a very specific question: what if? What if I lose my job? What if I said the wrong thing yesterday? What if the future is not as bright as I hope? These two small words create a trap that catches our peace of mind. We spend hours solving problems that have not even happened yet, leaving us exhausted before the day begins. Late at night, when the world is finally quiet, the volume of these thoughts seems to increase. The bed should be a place of rest, but for many, it becomes a theater of bad scenarios. You replay old conversations or fear upcoming meetings. This lack of sleep makes the worry even stronger the next day. It is a cycle that feels almost impossible to break without the right tools. You are not alone in this experience. People from all over the world share this same struggle with internal noise. Whether you are in a quiet village or a busy city, the human heart reacts to pressure in the same way. Finding a community of people who want to live more peacefully can be a great first step. Sharing these feelings helps us realize that our fears are not unique. It is helpful to stop and think about where you are right now. Many people find that writing down their thoughts or connecting with others helps clear the mental fog. Taking a moment to acknowledge your current state is very brave. It shows that you are ready to make a change and stop letting anxiety drive your life. This journey toward a quieter mind is one we can take together. By choosing to focus on your mental health today, you are making a long-term investment. This path requires patience and a gentle attitude toward yourself. It is not about perfect success, but about small steps. Each time you notice your worry and choose to breathe through it, you are growing stronger. This is the foundation of a life lived with more intention and much less unnecessary fear. Let us define what we mean by mental noise. It is that constant stream of commentary running in the background of your mind. It critiques your choices and warns you about the future. Sometimes it is so loud that you cannot hear the birds singing or enjoy a meal with a friend. This noise creates a barrier between you and the beauty of the actual world happening right in front of you. Imagine your mind is like a clear blue sky. The thoughts and worries are like clouds passing through. Some clouds are white and light, while others are dark and heavy with rain. The problem starts when we think we are the clouds. We forget that we are actually the sky. The sky remains calm and steady, no matter how many storms pass through it during the afternoon. We often mistake worrying for planning. We think that if we think about a problem long enough, we are being productive. However, there is a big difference between the two. Planning involves taking a specific action to solve a challenge. Worrying is just running in circles without ever moving forward. It burns energy, but solves absolutely nothing. Recognizing this difference is the first major step toward finding true mental freedom. Think about how much time is lost to things that never actually happened. Research shows that a vast majority of our fears never come true. We suffer more in our imagination than we do in reality. We build walls to protect ourselves from ghosts. If we could look back at all our past worries, we would see that most of them were a waste of our precious time and mental energy. This habit of worrying is often a way to feel in control. When life feels uncertain, our brain tries to find safety by overthinking. It feels like if we stop worrying, something bad might surprise us. We use anxiety as a shield, believing it keeps us prepared. But in reality, this shield is too heavy to carry. It prevents us from moving quickly and enjoying the journey of life. The burden of tomorrow is not just a mental idea. It affects our health. When the mind is in a constant state of alert, the body stays in stress mode. This can lead to headaches, stomach issues, and a weak immune system. By learning to let go, we are not just helping our minds, but we are also giving our bodies a chance to heal and function properly, as they were meant to. Consider the cost of a worried life. You might be physically present at a birthday party, but your mind is at work. You might be hugging your child, but your thoughts are on your bank account. This means we are missing the most important parts of our lives. We are living in a future that does not exist and missing a present that will never come back to us again. It is important to be kind to yourself when you notice these patterns. Do not be angry that you worry. That only adds more stress. Instead, look at your thoughts with curiosity. Ask yourself, why am I holding on to this thought so tightly? This gentle observation allows you to create a small space between you and the anxiety. In that small space, you can finally find the power to choose peace. Many of us grew up in environments where worrying was seen as a sign of caring. If you didn't worry about your grades or your job, people thought you were lazy. This is a common misunderstanding in our society. You can be very responsible and hard-working without being anxious. In fact, a calm mind is much more efficient at solving problems than a mind filled with fear and panic. The mental noise often feels like a radio that you cannot turn off. It switches from one bad news station to another. It talks about mistakes you made 10 years ago and then jumps to problems you might have next month. To stop this, we must learn how to change the station or simply lower the volume. This is not a skill we are born with. It is something we must learn. We live in a world that encourages this noise. Our phones are constantly buzzing with notifications that demand our attention. Every news headline is designed to make us feel urgent and worried. We are bombarded with information that we cannot control. This makes it harder than ever to stay grounded in the present moment. We must be very intentional about creating quiet spaces in our daily routines. Take a moment now to breathe deeply. Feel the air enter your lungs and then leave your body. For these few seconds, there is no past and no future. There is only this breath. This simple act is a way of telling your brain that you are safe. It breaks the cycle of worry for a moment. These small moments of silence are the medicine that our busy minds need so desperately. As we finish this first act, acknowledge the weight you have been carrying. You don't have to carry it all the way to the end. It is okay to put the bag down. Understanding the problem is half the battle. Now that we have looked at the burden of tomorrow, we can start to look at why our brains behave this way. Understanding our history will help us find the way out. To understand why we worry, we must look back thousands of years. Our ancestors lived in a world that was very different and much more dangerous than ours. They lived in nature, where wild animals and harsh weather were constant threats. In that environment, being worried was actually a very good thing. It kept them alert and ready to run or fight. This was their key to survival. The human brain evolved to be a survival machine, not a happiness machine. Its primary goal was to keep us alive long enough to have children. Because of this, our brains became experts at looking for danger. If a person saw a bush move, they didn't think, "Oh, look at the pretty leaves." They thought, "Is there a lion hiding there?" The ones who worried lived. The ones who didn't were eaten. This old part of the brain is still with us today. It is called the amygdala, and it acts like a smoke detector. It scans the environment for anything that might be a threat. The problem is that our environment has changed, but our brains have not. Today, we don't face many lions, but our brains still use that same ancient alarm system for modern problems like bills or social awkwardness. When your boss sends you a message saying, "We need to talk," your brain reacts exactly as if you were facing a tiger. Your heart rate goes up, your muscles tense, and your focus narrows. Your brain doesn't know the difference between physical danger and social stress. It uses the same high-level emergency response for both. This is why our modern anxiety feels so intense and physically exhausting. In the past, these threats were usually short. A hunter either escaped the animal or they didn't. The stress lasted for a few minutes and then it was over. Today, our threats are chronic. We worry about our career for 30 years. We worry about our children for a lifetime. Our bodies are not designed to be in emergency modes for such long periods of time. This causes many health problems. Nature has a way of balancing things out. Most animals only feel stress when the danger is right in front of them. A zebra eats grass until the lion starts to chase it. Once the chase is over and the zebra is safe, it goes back to eating grass. It doesn't sit under a tree wondering if the lion will come back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Only humans have the ability to imagine future threats. This ability to imagine the future is what made us the most successful species on Earth. It allowed us to build cities, grow food for the winter, and travel to the moon. We can plan for things that haven't happened yet. But this great gift is a double-edged sword. The same imagination that allows us to build also allows us to worry about every possible thing that could go wrong. Our ancestors also relied heavily on their tribe. Being rejected by the group meant certain death because you couldn't survive alone. This is why we worry so much about what other people think of us. When someone criticizes you or unfollows you online, your ancient brain feels like you are being kicked out of the tribe. It feels like a life or death situation, even though it is just a social interaction. Because of this history, your brain has a negativity bias. It is much better at remembering bad things than good things. If you receive 10 compliments and 1 criticism, you will spend all night thinking about the criticism. This was a survival strategy. It was more important to remember where the dangerous snakes were than where the pretty flowers grew. We are literally wired to focus on the negative. It is helpful to realize that your brain is not broken. It is actually doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is trying to keep you safe. When you feel anxious, you can say to yourself, "Thank you, brain, for trying to protect me, but there is no lion here." Acknowledging that this is a biological process helps take some of the power away from the feeling of fear. Now, consider the gap between this biology and our modern reality. In the ancient world, most problems were solved with physical action. You ran away or you fought back. Today, most of our problems cannot be solved with our bodies. You cannot fight a debt or run away from a complicated relationship. This leaves us with a lot of nervous energy in our bodies and nowhere for it to go. This trapped energy turns into the mental noise we discussed earlier. Since we cannot act physically, our minds start to spin. We analyze, we reanalyze, and we obsess. We are trying to find a mental solution to a biological feeling of danger. This mismatch is the core of modern anxiety. We are living in a fast-paced digital world with a slow, biological brain that is stuck in the past. The modern office is a perfect example of this confusion. Tight deadlines, difficult meetings, and endless emails are seen as attacks by our system. Even sitting under bright artificial lights all day can keep our stress levels high. We are disconnected from the natural rhythms of light and dark that used to help our brains relax. Our ancestors slept when the sun went down, but we stay awake with blue light. We also have too much choice now. In the past, you did what your parents did. You lived in the same village and knew the same people. Today, we can do anything, go anywhere, and be anyone. This should be a good thing, but it often leads to decision fatigue. We worry that we are making the wrong choice or missing out on something better. This is a very modern type of worry. The internet has made this even worse. We now compare our real lives to the highlight reels of thousands of people. Our brain sees people who seem richer, happier, and more successful, and it feels like we are failing. Again, the tribe's instinct kicks in. We feel like we are at the bottom of the group, which our brain interprets as a danger to our survival. It is an unfair comparison. Another factor is the speed of information. We hear about every disaster, every war, and every economic crisis from across the globe in real time. Our ancestors only knew about problems in their immediate area. Their world was small, and their worries were local. Today, we are carrying the weight of the entire planet on our shoulders. It is simply more information than the human mind was designed to handle. When we combine our survival instincts with this flood of global information, it is no wonder we feel overwhelmed. Our brains are constantly in a state of high alert. We are looking for threats in every headline and every notification. This constant stimulation keeps our nervous system on, making it very difficult to find the off switch. We have lost the natural periods of silence that allowed our brains to reset. However, knowing this history gives us power. We can start to see our anxiety as a physical reaction rather than a deep truth. Just because your brain says you should be worried doesn't mean it is right. It is just using an old map to navigate a new city. Once you understand how the machine works, you can start to use it more effectively and stop being a victim of its alarms. We cannot change our evolution in a single day. We will always have these instincts. But we can change how we respond to them. We can learn to distinguish between a real threat and a mental tiger. We can create environments that help our ancient brains feel safe. This is where the shift begins. We move from being controlled by our past to being the masters of our present. As we close this chapter on history, take a moment to be grateful for your brain. It has kept humans alive through ice ages and famines. It is a powerful tool. But now, it is time to teach it a new trick. It is time to teach it how to relax in a safe world. In the next section, we will look at exactly how to make that shift from worry to peace. The shift starts with a change in perspective. We must move from being the person who worries to being the person who watches the worry. Think of it like watching a movie. When you are watching a scary movie, you might feel afraid, but you know you are safe in the theater. You can learn to do the same with your thoughts. You are the observer, not the thoughts themselves. One powerful tool for this is called mental reframing. Instead of saying, "I am anxious," try saying, "I am experiencing a feeling of anxiety." This small change in language creates a distance. It makes the feeling something you have, rather than something you have. When you have something, you can eventually put it down. When you are something, it feels permanent. You are much bigger than any single feeling. Another key technique is to question your thoughts. When a worry enters your mind, ask yourself, is this thought 100% true? Usually, the answer is no. We often believe our thoughts without any evidence. We assume the worst will happen just because we thought of it. By asking for evidence, you force the logical part of your brain to wake up and challenge the emotional, survival-based part. We also need to accept the things we cannot control. This is one of the hardest but most important lessons in life. Imagine you are on a boat in the middle of the ocean. You cannot control the wind or the waves, but you can control the sails. Worrying about the wind is a waste of time. Focusing on the sails is where your power lies. Action is the best cure for anxiety. Many people find success with a technique called worry time. This sounds strange, but it works. You schedule 15 minutes every day, perhaps at 5 p.m., to do nothing but worry. If a worried thought comes up at 10 a.m., you tell yourself, "I will think about this at 5 p.m. This gives your brain permission to let go of the thought for now, knowing it will be addressed later. When your worry time finally arrives, sit down with a piece of paper. Write down every single thing that is bothering you. Often, when we see our worries on paper, they look smaller and less scary. Some of them might even seem silly. This practice helps move the anxiety from the abstract, emotional part of the brain to the logical, organized part. It takes the power away from the unknown. We must also practice the power of anchoring in the present. Worry lives in the future, and regret lives in the past. Peace only lives in the right now. You can anchor yourself by using your 5 senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What can you feel against your skin? By focusing on these physical sensations, You pull your mind out of the what if and into the what if and into the what is. Consider the language you use when you talk to yourself. Are you a harsh critic or a kind friend? Most of us say things to ourselves that we would never say to someone we love. We tell ourselves we are failures or that everything will go wrong. Try to speak to yourself with the same compassion you would show a small child who is scared. Kindness softens the edges of a worried mind. The shift also requires us to let go of the need for certainty. We want to know exactly what will happen next, but life doesn't work that way. Uncertainty is not a threat. It is just a fact of existence. When we stop fighting uncertainty and start accepting it, the tension begins to fade. We realize that we have handled challenges before and we will handle them again, whatever they may be. Action is the natural enemy of worry. If there is something you can do about a problem, do it. Even a tiny step forward reduces the feeling of helplessness. If there is nothing you can do, then no amount of worrying will change the outcome. In both cases, worrying is not the answer. Focus on the small, manageable tasks of today and let tomorrow take care of itself for a while. Let us try a specific exercise right now. It is called the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Look around and name 5 things you can see. Perhaps it is a lamp, a window, or your own hands. Then, find 4 things you can touch, like the chair or your shirt. Next, listen for 3 things you can hear. Then, 2 things you can smell. Finally, 1 thing you can taste. This grounds you immediately. Another helpful exercise is box breathing. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold again for 4 seconds. This pattern sends a direct signal to your nervous system that it is time to calm down. It is a physical override for your brain's alarm system. You can do this anywhere, at any time, and no one will even know you are doing it. Try the best-case scenario exercise. Our brains are experts at imagining the worst. To balance this, force yourself to imagine the best possible outcome. What if everything goes perfectly? What if people love your work? What if you feel great? This is not about being unrealistic. It is about giving your mind a break from the constant negativity. It reminds you that good outcomes are also possible. Physical movement is one of the fastest ways to change your mental state. A 10-minute walk can clear the mental fog better than an hour of sitting and thinking. When you move your body, you process the stress hormones that worry creates. It shifts your energy from your head down into your feet. If you feel a wave of anxiety coming on, try to move your body in some way. Limit your intake of information. Try a digital fast for a few hours every day. Turn off your notifications and stay away from the news. This reduces the number of triggers your brain has to deal with. By controlling what enters your mind, you have more control over how you feel. You are protecting your mental space, which is just as important as protecting your physical home. Practice gratitude every evening. Before you go to sleep, write down 3 things that went well today. They don't have to be big things. A good cup of coffee or a smile from a stranger is enough. This trains your brain to look for the positive instead of the negative. Over time, your negativity bias will begin to weaken, and you will naturally notice more beauty in your life. Learn to say enough. When you find yourself overthinking a problem, say the word stop out loud. Then redirect your attention to a physical task. Maybe you wash the dishes or fold the laundry. Engaging in a simple physical chore can break the loop of worry. It gives your mind something concrete to focus on, which is very soothing for a restless brain. Visualization can also be very powerful. Imagine you are sitting by a peaceful stream. Every time a worried thought comes up, imagine placing it on a leaf and letting it float away down the river. You are not fighting the thought, you are simply letting it go. You watch it move further and further away until it disappears. This visual practice helps you understand that thoughts are temporary. Establish a morning routine that does not involve your phone. Instead of checking the news or your emails first thing, spend 10 minutes in silence. Have a tea, stretch, or look out the window. This sets a calm tone for the rest of the day. By starting in a state of peace, you are much more likely to maintain that peace even when challenges arise later on. Remember that these tools are like muscles. They get stronger the more you use them. Do not expect to be perfect right away. Some days will be harder than others. The goal is not to never worry again, but to become faster at noticing the worry and returning to the present. You are building a new way of living, and that takes time and practice. As we enter this final part of our journey, let us talk about the quiet life. This is not a life without problems, but a life where problems do not take away your peace. It is a state of being where you are at home in yourself. Achieving this requires us to normalize the struggle. Everyone feels fear. The difference is how we live with it. It is a practice, not a destination. Letting go of perfection is a major part of this process. We often worry because we want everything to be perfect. We want the perfect career, the perfect family, and the perfect health. But perfection is an impossible standard that only leads to more anxiety. When we accept that life is messy and that we will make mistakes, the pressure lifts. We can finally breathe and enjoy the imperfect beauty of reality. The quiet life is also about simplicity. We often fill our lives with too many things, too many commitments, and too much noise. We think that more will make us happy, but it often just makes us more worried. By simplifying our schedules and our homes, we create more space for the mind to rest. Less to manage means less to worry about. Simple is often much better. There is a deep beauty in the present moment that we often miss. Think about the feeling of warm sun on your face, the sound of rain on the roof, or the taste of a fresh apple. These small, simple joys are available to us every single day. When we stop worrying about tomorrow, we finally have the space to enjoy these gifts. This is what it truly means to start living. Consistency is the key to maintaining this new peace. It is easy to feel good after a quiet weekend, but the challenge is staying calm on a busy Monday morning. This is why we must keep practicing our tools every day, even when we don't feel stressed. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You do it every day to keep your mind healthy and clean of unnecessary noise. It is also helpful to find a rhythm that works for you. Some people need a long walk in nature every week to reset. Others find peace in painting, cooking, or reading. Discover what activities help you feel grounded and make them a priority. These are not treats or luxuries. They are essential parts of your mental health. Taking care of yourself is a serious and important responsibility. Be prepared for the bad days. Life will still throw surprises at you. You will still have moments where you feel overwhelmed or scared. This doesn't mean you have failed. It just means you are human. When these moments happen, go back to the basics. Breathe. Focus on the present. Be kind to yourself. Each time you recover from a difficult day, you become more resilient and more confident. We often think that letting go of worry will make us less successful. We fear that if we don't stress, we will lose our edge. But the opposite is true. A calm mind is more creative, more focused, and more capable. You can make better decisions when you are not clouded by fear. Peace is actually a superpower that helps you perform better in every area of your life. The journey of letting go is also a journey of trust. You are learning to trust yourself and trust the process of life. You are learning that you have the strength to handle whatever comes your way. This trust replaces the need for control. When you trust that you will be okay regardless of the outcome, the worry loses its grip on your heart. You are finally free. This change in your internal world will eventually start to change your external world. When you are more peaceful, your relationships improve. You become a better listener and a kinder friend. Your work becomes more meaningful. You start to attract more positive situations because you are no longer vibrating with stress and anxiety. Your peace becomes a gift that you share with everyone around you. We have covered a lot of ground together. We looked at the heavy burden that worry places on our lives and how it affects both our minds and our bodies. We saw how our history and evolution wired us to be alert for danger, and why those same instincts cause trouble in our modern world. Understanding these facts is the foundation of the change you are making right now. We explored tools like reframing our thoughts, questioning our fears, and using our senses to stay in the present. We learned the importance of worry time and the power of simple breathing exercises. These are not just ideas, they are practical skills that you can use every single day. They are the keys to the door that leads away from anxiety and toward a much quieter life. Remember that this journey is unique to you. Your path might be faster or slower than someone else's, and that is perfectly fine. The important thing is that you are moving in the right direction. Every time you choose peace over worry, you are making progress. Celebrate those small victories, because they add up to a very big change over weeks, months, and years of your life. As you move forward, keep a gentle heart. Life is a beautiful, difficult, and wonderful adventure. Worrying is like trying to navigate this adventure with your eyes closed. By letting go, you are opening your eyes. You are seeing the world as it really is, not as your fears imagine it to be. There is so much more to see than just the problems and the risks. Think about the person you want to be. Do you want to be the person who is always rushing and afraid? Or do you want to be the person who is steady and calm, even in a storm? That person is already inside you. They are just waiting for the noise to stop so they can finally speak. You are becoming that person a little bit more every single day. The art of letting go is not about ignoring reality. It is about seeing reality clearly and choosing not to be crushed by it. It is about realizing that while you cannot control the world, you can always control your reaction to it. This is the ultimate form of freedom. No one can take this peace away from you once you have learned how to cultivate it within yourself. Every morning is a new chance to start again. If yesterday was full of worry, that is okay. Today is a clean slate. You can choose to leave the yesterday's weight behind. Take a deep breath and start your day with a simple intention to stay present and to be kind to yourself. That is all you need to do. The rest will follow in its own time. I encourage you to keep learning and exploring. This path of self-discovery is one of the most rewarding things you can do with your life. The more you understand about yourself, the more you can enjoy the world around you. You have the tools, the knowledge, and the strength to live a life of peace. Trust yourself and take that first step into a quieter future. Thank you for spending this time looking inward. It shows a deep commitment to your own well-being. By calming your own mind, you are also making the world a slightly more peaceful place. Your energy affects everyone you meet. Choose to be a source of calm in a loud world. It is a beautiful way to live, and it starts with just one thought. So, as you go back to your day, remember to breathe. Remember to look at the sky. Remember that you are more than your worries. The future is unwritten, and the present is a gift. Stop worrying about what might happen and start living what is happening right now. The art of letting go is the art of being truly alive. Peace be with you on your journey.